So I work with change makers, innovators, mavericks, disruptors, people that are interested in transforming and changing the organizations that they work in. I spend a lot of time with innovators in particular. And what I've discovered is that the kinds of people that are really great at coming up with breakthrough ideas are also usually very bad at getting those ideas adopted. And what I've learned in this journey is that there's actually two jobs that you have to kind of do when you're doing this kind of work. The first job is coming up with those breakthrough ideas or creating breakthrough ideas. Not an easy job at all. But the second job is making sure you get those ideas adopted. Particularly if you're working inside large organizations, it's impossible to succeed unless you get other people to buy into the ideas that you're working on. But the characteristics that a lot of these mavericks and disruptors have make it really difficult for them to get their ideas adopted by the colleagues that they need to collaborate with. So what are those characteristics that are necessary for coming up with breakthrough ideas? Well, first of all, you've got to be independent. You can't be following the crowd. And then you have to be contrarian, which means that you have to come up with things that are different from what the organization is actually working on. And to be a great innovator, you have to be agile, which means you need to move faster than the speed that the organization typically moves at. And all of that makes it quite challenging. And then, of course, as you do all this kind of work, you're really being disruptive because you're challenging the status quo. And every organization is set up to maintain the status quo. So how do you actually do this work, challenging the status quo, being disruptive? It really makes it difficult, because if you're good at all these things, you're good at being independent, you're good at being contrarian, you're good at being agile, you're disruptive, and you challenge the status quo, it makes it harder for you to bring other people along, because these behaviors are the kind of behaviors that other people find kind of annoying and irritating and challenging, right? So the question is, how do you balance coming up with breakthrough ideas and bringing other people along with you? And it's a real challenge because getting ideas adopted requires the opposite of the behaviors that you have to create breakthrough ideas. To get ideas adopted, you have to be collaborative. That means you have to work well with others. To get ideas adopted means you have to be empathetic, which means you have to take the point of view that supports the status quo sometimes, like understand why particular people have particular ways of working. And again, to get your ideas adopted, you have to be patient. When you want to be agile, you have to be patient because you're trying to bring people along, right? And you have to be diplomatic. You have to have conversations with people that then allow you to build social capital. It's impossible for you to get your ideas adopted unless you're able to build social capital. So you can see the tension that you're kind of dealing with, right? You're challenging the status quo while at the same time building social capital. And this is a really hard balance to have, but this is something that every corporate entrepreneur, every innovator, every transformation leader has to be good at, doing both these things at the same time. And so the other day I was having a conversation with some colleagues inside the large company, and they were telling me how they'd worked on a really important breakthrough idea that was going to really transform their industry. It actually changed some of their EBITDA margins inside the business that they were working in. But the problem was that now that they wanted to get this rolled out, they couldn't get the level of investment that they need in order to scale and grow the idea that they just started working on. And I think one of the things that's really difficult with people who are working on breakthrough ideas is that we tend to work in isolation. So we tend to then only want to bring others along when we're finished with the idea and now we need it to be scaled. And what I would do is encourage you to start now. Start now at the beginning of your idea while you're working on it, bringing others along. Allow them to co-create with you. Allow them to make contributions and give you feedback. And start laying the ground for the future. Where you think the idea needs to be taken up and scaled, you need to be having those conversations early, not right at the end when you now need them to adopt the idea. Because if you do that, then you'll struggle a lot with the not invented here syndrome, right? So that's going to be really, really, really difficult. And so I'd invite you to join us for a workshop that I run. I work with the corporate innovators, I work with mavericks, I work with change agents, and we just start to map out the lay of the land. Who are the key stakeholders? What level of buy-in do we have from all these different stakeholders? And then what do we do right now, starting today, to get that adoption happening, right? So you can do both jobs. You can be working on your cool idea and at the same time working with the rest of the organization to make sure that that idea gets adopted and scaled after you're ready for it to go out into the world.